Can the president send active duty troops into U.S. cities? Yes, but only under a law from 1807 called the Insurrection Act. Today we explain what it actually does, how it's been used, and why it's in the headlines now. Passed in 1807, updated over time, the Insurrection Act lets the president federalize the National Guard or use U.S. forces to restore order in certain emergencies. For example, rebellion, widespread domestic violence, or when states cannot or will not enforce federal law. It's an exception to the posse comitatus rule that usually blocks the military from policing civilians. There are three main paths the act covers: state request, the governor or legislature asks for federal help; federal enforcement without state consent, when unlawful obstructions make enforcement impracticable, to enforce constitutional rights when a state fails to protect them. Each path uses different legal language and triggers very different political and legal checks. Though old, the act has been decisive in moments of crisis. Presidents used it during Reconstruction and civil rights desegregation, and in 1992 to help restore order in Los Angeles. Use is rare, but when invoked, it becomes a flashpoint between federal and state power. Important legal guardrail. The Posse Comitatus Act generally forbids using the U.S. military for domestic law enforcement. The Insurrection Act is a narrow exception. Your 12 Congress wrote it, so the president could act in emergencies. But the exception is supposed to be used sparingly and with legal checks. In recent years, the act re-entered headlines when presidents and candidates suggested invoking it during protests or unrest. Critics warn about militarizing domestic problems and eroding civil liberties. Supporters say it's a lawful tool for extreme breakdowns of order. Courts, governors, and Congress can all push back, and political and legal fights often follow any attempt to use it. If the president invokes the act, the practical steps can include federalizing the Guard, ordering active duty troops to operate domestically, and coordinating with federal law enforcement. But courts can step in, governors can object, and Congress can investigate or pass new rules. So legal fights and political blowback are common. Why it matters: the Insurrection Act puts active duty military power into the domestic arena, effective in the worst crises, but risky if used for political aims. It raises questions about civil liberties, the role of governors, and how America balances order with freedom. If talk of invoking the act shows up in headlines, watch these signs. Court filings, governor responses, whether the president seeks a state's request first, and any congressional oversight. Links to primary sources are in the description. This law is old, powerful, and complicated, and it comes with big legal and democratic questions. If you found this useful, hit follow, share this explainer with someone who's asking, what's the Insurrection Act? And follow for more trending updates.